Okay, because if they are not advanced and they are not developed, they will not have the great interest in this, right? Right, guys? So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay. So, how did the Minoan civilization disappear? Of course, the archaeologists have found that Minoan palaces were destroyed, and also they rebuilt more than one time. But sometime around 1400 BC, palaces were destroyed. Evidence show fire and sudden destruction. Evidence shows fire and sudden destruction. Scholars do not know why Minoan civilization fell. A volcano eruption on a nearby island may have rained flames, death, or even clouds of ash and masses, or perhaps an earthquake destroyed. So simply the major reason still unhidden and unknown for us. The major reason is unknown for us. Okay? So the major reason for the destruction of the palaces at Knossos are still ambiguous for us nowadays. But actually, some Muslim scholars believe that the palaces at Knossos were mentioned in the Holy Quran, okay, as they were taken by sudden because of their sins. But after all, let's just stick with what's in the book. So our book said that those people, okay, they were taken out at sudden, and none of the detailed information is known to us. But the most likely is to happen is an earthquake, and that earthquake led, once again, if you went back here, you will find that the sea around them is very rough. So any earthquake hits at the bottom of the water here will lead into a tidal wave. And any of the volcanoes of the near island could lead into burning flames and a cloud of dust that will cover the sky and kill everyone at that place. So for us, the specific reason is still ambiguous, unknown for us. Yet we just claim that it might be an earthquake or a volcano eruption on a nearby island. So after the Mycenians were destroyed, the Minoans were destroyed, the Mycenians started to take control. So the Mycenians came after the Minoans. The Mycenians came after the Minoans. Following me? Do you follow?
Yes.
Okay, so the Mycenians, they came after the Minoans. They took their place and they were a group of the speaking related into Indo-European language who moved into Europe and Western Asia. So they started to move from India into Europe. That's why we call them Indo-European speakers. Indo-European speakers. Okay, that's why we call them that name. Among them were the Mycenians. So what's going on about the Mycenians? The Mycenians moved into southeastern Europe and also the Aryans who migrated into India. And as the Minoans, they traded also using the sea. And trade by sea brings wealth to them, as they started to trade not even with just the Egyptian and the Mesopotamian, not only these two civilizations, but it starts to trade with Egypt, Mesopotamian civilization, and also the island of Sicily and the island of Italy. Sicily here and Italy here. Okay, Sicilia. So they expanded even further than the Minoans. And coming to the most important part, or the most amusing part, which is the Trojan War. So, what do you remember about the Trojan War? Do you remember anything about the Trojan War?
The Trojan War
Yep.
between Mycenians and Troy.
Okay.
Only this.
Why did it happen?
Because the Trojan king kidnaps the wife of the Greek king.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so let's just set out some information. First of all, the Trojan War happened between both the Mycenians and the Dorians. The Mycenians and the Dorians. The Mycenians are resembled in the city of Troy, and the Dorians are resembled in the Greek king. Okay? So we have two parties, Mycenians living inside the city of Troy, and the Dorians resembled as the Greek army. So we have how many reasons for that war? Come on, Trojan War. How many reasons?
Any reason?
Okay, I need the most important of them.
Because Helen was kidnapped
Nice.
and
So the Trojan prince, whose name was Paris, kidnapped Helen, the Dorian king's wife. That's one of the reasons, the romantic one. And the other one, why would anybody tries to invade another one?
what again, teacher?
Why would anyone tries to invade another one? Why would any civilization tries to take control of
Be
other
stronger
civilization?
empire.
To make a stronger empire, to take control of the land, to take control of the wealth, blah 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 blah. All the same reasons as any other civilization. So for the Trojan War, we have two main reasons: a political one and a romantic one. The political reason is that because the Dorians now were getting stronger and they needed to take control of other cities and other civilization, especially those who are very, very wealthy. On the other hand, we will have the romantic reason. The romantic reason is resembled in the Prince of Troy. His name was Paris, and he kidnapped Helen, the Dorian king's wife, or the Greek king's wife. And that's why this king asked the help of his own brother, who was another king. And both of them marched towards Troy. And in Troy, we found out that we have the agony, we have the conflict, we have the honor, we have all aspects of the great warriors who has ever existed on Greece. Including those warriors was the greatest warrior, Achilles. The greatest warrior, Achilles. Do you remember Achilles?
Yes.
Okay. Who was Achilles?
He was. His friend was killed
Mm-hmm.
in the war.
Nice. And
He went to revenge for him.
nice. So Achilles, he was one of the greatest warriors in the early civilization of the Greek people. He was very, very strong, and he also had such a great honor. He did not listen to anyone. No one was able to affect him, even his king. Okay, the Dorian king, he wanted him to fight, and he refused to fight. But unfortunately, his friend Patroclus, his closest friend, and some people say that he was his own cousin. So Patroclus, he took part in the war, and actually he was killed in action. Achilles became very furious and went by himself to the city of Troy, and he just challenged Hector, the prince of Troy, for a battle of death. And actually he killed Hector and took his body with him. And later, of course, the Trojan king came to him, asked him to give him the body of his son so that he can bury him properly. So all of these events and action about the Trojan War, okay, we have no such reference of it except for that written by the greatest poet of the Greek civilization, which is Homer. Homer left for us some amusing and perfect tales and poems and also stories, including two of the greatest poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey. The Iliad represented all the actions that happened in the Trojan War, and the Odyssey represents the journey of Odysseus, a very great man who, after the Trojan War, tries to go back to his family, yet he's lost in the sea and spends a journey of 10 years. So, one question. Did Homer write the Iliad and the Odyssey himself?
No,
So, who wrote them and what did he do?
he was an oral poet.
Bravo, bravo. So, he said them only orally. Orally means spoken. So, he only just sang them as songs. He only told the people them orally, and he did not write.
And
And they
after his death, they wrote it.
Bravo. After many generations, they wrote down his own novel. That's why most of his work actually was lost. So, some of the great epic poems were the Iliad and the Odyssey. So far, so good.
Yes.
So we have the Minoans, the first people to inhabit. They were sea traders based on the island of Crete, absorbed ideas from Egypt and Mesopotamia, worshipped Pole and the mother goddesses. Later came the Mycenians. They were sea traders also, like the Minoans. They also absorbed the ideas from Egypt, Mesopotamia, and beside them, the island of Italy and also Sicily. And they learned how to write from the Minoans. And the Minoans learned how to write from where did the Minoans learn to write? Tricky question. From where did the Minoans learn to write?
From Egypt and Mesopotamia.
Okay, but exactly from where? Specific in Mesopotamia, one civilization and the Mesopotamian civilization. The first people to make alphabet. Where?
Phoenicians.
The Phoenicians. So they learned how to write from the Phoenician and they adapted their own cuneiform, the written language, and later they started to change that cuneiform in order to make it easier. And later, the Mycenians adapted the same ideas and the same written language from the Minoans, and after that, the Greek civilization took it, and from the Greek came our own English language. So it's like a sequence, a chain from one to the other. So far, so good?
Yes.
Okay. So, the Dorians came after the Trojan War. They originated first in northern and northwestern of Greece, attacked the Mycenians from the north. Okay? Again, the Dorians came from the north. The Dorians came from the north. We will study that later with what? The Spartan people. The Spartan, no one was allowed to be a Spartan unless he was a direct descendant from the Dorians who came from the north. And later, Alexander the Great and his father came also from the north. Okay, so connect all the information in your mind as a web. So the Dorians came from the north. They attacked the Mycenians and took control of it, conquered and settled in the city of Sparta. That's why the Spartan people did not allow anyone to be Spartan, to have citizenship of Sparta, unless he was a direct descendant from the Dorians. And of course, Sparta, Corinth, Argos, as well as today's Sicily, Italy, North Africa, along the Black Sea coast. So many cities they attacked and settled.
Teacher,
Yes, Abdurrahman.
what is Sicily?
Sicily, it's an island right here beneath Italy. That's it. We call it Sicilia.
Oh,
Okay, its name is Sicilia, and they speak Italy, of course. They speak the Italian language. Okay, we in English we call them the island of Sicily, but they, as Italians, they call themselves the Islando do Sicilia.
okay.
D'accord? So that's Sicily, that's Italy, and the Mycenians traded with both places. Sicily, Italy, along with Egypt and also the Mesopotamian civilization. Any questions so far?
No.
All right. A quick video about what happened in the Trojan War, because it's
The
very
Trojan
important.
War, one of the most famous ancient Greek myths. Many of you will have already heard of the 10-year conflict between the fortified Trojan city and the united Greek armies, the latter of whom eventually win by sneaking into Troy disguised in a massive wooden horse. But how did the war actually start? The story starts with the king and queen of Troy, Priam and Hecuba, who are expecting a son. A great moment for any couple, right? Well, in this case, not so much. The child is prophesied to bring about the total destruction of Troy. Because of this total destruction of Troy thing, the king and queen command a servant to kill their newborn, who leaves the baby on a mountainside to die. A few days later, the servant returns to find the baby alive and well, and so impressed by this, decides to raise him as his own. The child is named Paris, and grows up to be so fair in his judgment that even the gods respect him. Eventually, he is reunited with his royal family, who welcome him with open arms, seeming to have forgotten that whole prophesied to bring about the total destruction of their city. Meanwhile, a sea nymph named Thetis and a mortal man named Peleus are getting married. The king of the gods, Zeus, hosts their wedding banquet and invites all manner of gods and mythical creatures to the nuptials. That is, except for Eris, goddess of discord. Eris is, let's say, disappointed by not making the guest list, and in protest, not only crashes the wedding, but brings a gift that definitely wasn't on the registry. A carved golden apple bearing the words, "For the most beautiful." Eris throws the apple into the wedding party, and things get ugly. Hera, queen of the gods, Athena, goddess of war and wisdom, and Aphrodite, goddess of love, all claim that the apple is intended for them. Unable to decide who the apple should be given to, the goddesses turn to Zeus to pass judgment. But Zeus isn't too keen on judging a beauty contest between his wife and two daughters, and so passes the responsibility onto a mortal famed for his judgment. And so Paris is approached by the three goddesses. Each goddess offers Paris a reward if he chooses them. Hera offers control over Europe and Asia. Athena offers wisdom and to make Paris the world's greatest warrior. And Aphrodite, well, Aphrodite offers Paris the most beautiful woman in the world. Can you guess who he picks? He picks Aphrodite, the goddess who can give him the hottest girlfriend, and in so doing makes the goddess of love a permanent ally of the Trojans, and Athena and Hera their enemies. Unfortunately, Paris's prize of the most beautiful woman in the world is Queen Helen of Sparta, who already has a husband, Menelaus, king of Sparta. But this doesn't seem to faze Paris. With Aphrodite's blessing, he heads to Sparta, and while Helen's husband Menelaus is away, he takes her back to Troy. It's very unclear how she feels about this at this point. When Menelaus returns, he is understandably confused and very annoyed that his wife is missing and with another man. In response, Menelaus calls on all the kings of Greece to assemble their armies and sail to Troy to claim Helen back. To find out what happens next in the story, maybe check out the British Museum's latest exhibition, all about Troy. Details are on your screen now.
So of course all of this was about the first reason, which is the romantic reason, and how all the story happens. Of course it is not the true reason, and the true reason was because of the political one. They needed to take control of the city state of Troy so that they can access to their resources and also their trade and wealth. Any questions so far, grade 9?
Thank you.
Do you have any other exams today?
No.
Alright, enjoy the rest of your day and see you tomorrow.
Teacher, will you upload worksheets? Teacher,
Yes, Abdurrahman?
will you upload worksheets?
I'll do my best.
Okay, thank you.
You are very welcome.
We leave?
Yeah, you can leave.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.